productivity building practices. So I'm going to share with you some practices, and we might have another quick bracket at the end, because it's the projects that are consuming us that may be taking up our time in a way where we can maybe use that time more effectively. I mean, watching Netflix really is a project. It's an activity. It's an action, right? Being on Facebook 100% of the time or 90% of the time, it's still an action. It's something that you do. So I want you to think that this action indicator assessment, every action that we do, which can potentially take our time, if we ran it through certain variables, certain questions, and rated these things which are important to us in terms of productivity and performance, based on the research that Brennan did with the High Performance Institute. If we rated it and we gave ourselves a number, maybe we can make a better decision about those actions. Am I making sense there? So imagine learning a tool that helps you gauge whether or not you'll even try to accomplish a major project goal. Why would I even put time into it? Or if I wanted to, and it was important, I need to learn a skill or a task. What would that mean for you, and how much time is that worth to you? So here's the tasks, or what the action indicator assessment is. So what we want you to do is, I want you to think about what is that you want to get in your life. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Great to have you on board. All right. What is that you want to have in your life? So there's the logical levels of change in your spirituality, your career, your family, your relationships, your personal growth, your health and fitness. Now, remember, environment is the results that you want. What's the outcome that you want to get in your life? They're the outputs. The outcome, the environment you want to live in, well, is a result of your behavior and your actions. Your actions is a result of your skills and capabilities, what you're able to do, what you believe you can, and what you've acquired. So where is the gap? Something you need to learn to acquire in order to be able to achieve that result. And your skills and capabilities, what you can and can't do, is a result of your stories and your beliefs. Do you believe you can do these things? Do you believe you can take on a new skill or not? And your beliefs and stories are really a reflection of your identity. Okay? So they're the things that when you're making a decision, in order for you to say, well, hey, this action I'm going to do, is it worth my while? Am I going to get something out of it? Well, these questions have to relate to all these things, and specifically from an identity perspective. And ultimately, how do you connect to source? How do you allow the life force flow through you? So let me go through the exercise, because the exercise I'm going to share with you actually highlights these categories in this model, which is an important model over the last 30 years in terms of logical levels of change. Here's the questions, or the assessment really. I want you to think of a big dream or a goal that you'd like to achieve. Now let's make it specific. We've got to get a context here. What if we could know in advance whether or not you'll be productive and work hard towards achieving that? Would it be good for you to know that, whether you'll be productive with this? Are you going to work hard with this? Because whatever your goal and dream is, if you can run it through certain indicators, it'll maybe help you. I'm going to be productive as shit with this. Why have I got this as a goal? Right? Change the goal or change the outcome. Below, which we're going to be in the next couple of pages, and this will be a download in our members area, but for now you can take a screenshot of the 2 pages that come up, right? Below are several categories to consider when trying to access your will, your competence, or likelihood of taking on or successfully completing any given challenge, action, or activity in your life. With each category, give yourself a 1 to 10 as described. It's your subjective measure. And after it, you're going to add everything up and we'll look at your total score. Is that okay? Let's have a look at the categories and explain them to you. So as you think of, I'll disappear from the screen, so take a screenshot, right? So as you think of your goal that you want to achieve, or the thing that you want to achieve, the first category is future identity. Let's explain this. It says there, is this goal or activity relevant to my future identity, to how I see myself and what I see myself doing over the long term in the future? That's you got to make your own decision there, right? So this goal, this thing that you wanted to do, is it relevant to my future identity? Is it aligned with who I want to be? Because if it's not, what am I doing it for? Am I making sense? There could be another reason you're doing it for, but that could be maybe a 1 or a 2. Maybe it's an 8 or 9. So give yourself a rating. 1, not at all. 10, very much. Think of this outcome, right? Future identity. Is it relevant to who you want to be in the future? Number 2 is intrinsic value, an important one. Is this goal or activity something I'm passionate about and that I would enjoy doing? Would I feel proud about it when I get there? Is it going to give me a sense of contribution? Now, these are part of the 6 basic needs, right? Would I do this regardless of the money, the status, the recognition, and the power? Because money, status, recognition is extrinsic, correct? So if you would do it instead of the extrinsic stuff because of feel-good stuff, then that's a high number for you. Am I making any sense with that, guys? So you're adding up the numbers. Remember, there's no right or wrong. I'm just explaining the categories for you. So are you okay with how you can do your future identity, intrinsic value with your goal? So it's your goal, it's your activity, you're just giving them the number. Is it aligned with your future value? And are you getting heartfelt stuff from this goal, okay? Number 3, utilitarian value. Let's explain what that means. Is this goal or activity something that will lead to a useful outcome for me? Will I get something useful in life out of doing this? Now, when I say useful, is it going to be worthwhile? Is it going to be, it's not just where you want to be, but it's going to be useful for you. Or is it just going to be not useful? So what's the value you're placing on this acquisition or the achievement? Or is it going to be useful for you? 1 to 10. Here's the big one, opportunity cost, guys. In pursuing this goal or activity, right? In pursuing this goal or activity, can I avoid losing out on other things that are important? Can I do this without costing too much time, too much energy, too much effort, too much resources, too much willpower that I need elsewhere? So in other words, by me focusing on this goal, is going to take on too much of my resources that I need to use in other areas in my life. That's clear, right? That's a big one. Because if you're doing this, it's going to cause you to have huge gaps in your health, huge gaps in your relationships, huge gaps in your spiritual growth. That's a low number, correct? Or however you're rating it. So that's opportunity cost. Are you clear with that one, guys? So what's it going to cost you to achieve this goal or this outcome? Delay time. Is this goal or activity going to have a quick and recognizable results that I can enjoy soon? So is it delayed gratification or instant gratification? Yes, very much. I can enjoy them soon. 10 or not at all. Because if you don't get rewards quick enough for yourself, you're going to lose motivation. Remember, that's not just the only parameter, because some people might be a 2 with that and don't get started, but everything else pushes them through to keep focused, correct? And this is the big thing, because a lot of people say, mate, this is going to take too much time, so they don't get started. But that too much time also is like 10 intrinsic value, 10 in future identity. Why wouldn't I do it if it's going to give me 10 in those areas? So we're not taking a holistic view on the decisions and the activities and the projects that we're taking. Is this helpful, guys? That's just the first 5. All right, the last 5. Personal control. Is this goal or activity that you'll be able to make happen with your own efforts? Or do you need other help, or other people are going to control it? Or do you feel that you are at the mercy of other people making decisions at effect as opposed to cause? Is this goal or activity something that you'll be able to make happen with your own? Social support. Is this goal or activity something people will support you on? Do you get support from your loved ones, your team, your members, your friends? Will others provide direction and cheerlead for you? Is this going to create a fan base for you, or are you going to get enemies doing this? An important one, right? Bandwidth, huge. Huge one for bandwidth. Is this goal or activity something I will have enough time and focus to do a good job? And what I mean by that is, if your bandwidth is taken up by other stuff, you might not be putting the resources you need to on this. And that's where you might need to delete things which don't mean anything for you. So you got to say, man, this is important to me. I need bandwidth. If I need bandwidth, I need brain power. I've got to let go of some of the other crap that's taking up my brain power. I need to let go of something that's taking up 10 out of 10 of my brain power, which is like 1 intrinsic value, 1 in my future identity. Why would I be giving something 100% if it's 1 intrinsic value, 1 in future identity? Shit, man, easy way to make decisions. That's not me in the future. That's not giving me something deep down. Then why am I giving it 10 out of 10 in brain time? Am I making sense? Resource availability. Will I have the resources I need to successfully accomplish the goal? Now, if you don't, that's okay. Are you willing to find them, learn them, or is there going to be too much of an opportunity cost to find them and learn them? And the last one, autonomy. Will I be given the trust and decision-making authority I need to feel as though I'm in control to be able to make things happen? Do you feel that you can regulate this on your own? Do you feel that you can navigate this path on your own? Or again, it's almost like personal control. There's a link to personal control here, right? Are those categories clear, guys? So add them all up. Give yourself a 1 to 10 on the goal or the action or the project that you're thinking of. And what are your total scores? Because that's a great assessment to run all the things. Teach it to your kids so they can make better decisions on what's important to them. So let's have a look at the scores. How are you going to run them up? You can take a photo of this slide. If in tallying all your ratings, you didn't end up with a score of at least 75, which is 3/4, right? If you're less than 75, then it's likely you will not feel confident or excited about pursuing this new goal or activity. So why have you got it as a goal or activity? Why is it a project taking up your bandwidth if you're not going to be competent and pursue it? Could that be an easy decision for you then? I don't know. Maybe you're going out on a date with someone, running through this exercise. Make sure your date's more than 75. Right? Or if anyone's going to come over, Christine, and visit you, put them through this assessment. They've got to be at least 75 before they walk in the door.
They're bloody older than that, some of them.
Oh, okay. All right. Does that mean they rate 75 plus or not? Okay. So,
yeah.
So let's have a look. Just because you're not 75 doesn't mean you don't focus on it. If your score isn't at least 75, should you give up or not proceed is a question. You're going to have a choice here, right? Not necessarily. You'll know what's right for you. Spend some time looking at each area that you didn't get at least an 8 and ask yourself, what could I do in this area to advance or start this new activity to get my score moving higher here? Because if you can move each area, then maybe that project becomes worthwhile. But if it's too much for you to move the different areas, then it might not be worthwhile. In other words, you've got to do the hard work of thinking about how to increase your ratings. You've got to do the work, guys, in growing. And if you realize, man, that work is not the work I want to do or worth my work, then maybe this project's not worth you. But if you make the decision, fuck, well, I just swore, right? Fuck, this project's worth me, then do the work, put in the time. But these could be your KPIs, things you measure to help you make a decision. How do I move forward? Do I move forward with grace and ease, or do I move forward making the decision, knowing the areas I need to work on? These are the areas I need to get them up to an 8. This is important to me. Now, for me, if what I would rate, and you don't necessarily do what I do, but the ones which are important to me are 1 and 2. Future identity and intrinsic value. If I'm a 10 and a 10 with these, then I would do, even if I'm a 50 or a 60 in total, if I added everything else, I would do the work to move the other areas, because it's me in the future and I'm getting something that's important to me. Is that making sense, guys? So you got to look at it all. But then opportunity cost. If I'm going to have to lose a lot to get there, then I have to measure, is it worthwhile? But this helps you start asking better questions of yourself, doesn't it? And if you ask better questions, you're going to get better results. So is that helpful, guys? The action indicator assessment. That's a tool that Brendan Burchard's put together in High Performance Training Institute and part of the Mastering Productivity exercises. The next thing I wanted to show you is another tool, and I'm going to give you some tips. And this tool is not necessarily coming from Brendan's work in the high performance coaching, although some of the concepts I'm going to fit into what he talks about. It's a tool that, I mean, you've seen it, you know it. It's a planning, a strategy planning and setting out, you're mapping out your life. But I got this specifically from Kerwin Ray when I did his program, Nail It to Scale, and some extra training with him. And I really love the way he put it together, and I'd add a few bits and pieces to it. And I want you to think of this as the strategic planning process. Now, this is not necessarily just for your business. It can be your business. So you can have the context for your business and career and your work. For those of you that may be working together, maybe we can put a strategy like this in place, right? Or look at it as part of your life. So on the top part of this upside down pyramid is your purpose and vision. If you want to plan out, you want to be aligned with your actions and be productive in your health, your career, your relationships. What's your purpose in relationships? What's your vision? What's your ultimate relationship vision? What's your ultimate health vision? What's your ultimate career vision? And there's a purpose in each one of those areas, right? If you're not clear with your purpose and vision, you're not going to have a big motivational drive to do shit. You'll be not aligned. You'll be busy being busy. You think you're productive, you're not going to be getting anywhere. You've got to be very clear with your why and what you expect out of life. We'll get to that later on. Your purpose and vision leads to your mission. The purpose and vision is what you want to happen. The mission, and it's the why is attached to it, it's the feelings. The mission is how you're going to do that. So if I was looking from a business perspective, the purpose and vision would be, why do you exist? Personally, if it was a purpose and vision in your life, or for your business, why does your business exist? Why do you exist as a business? What's the vision for your business? Now, the mission for the business might be, okay, so where do we want the business to be in 5 or 10 years? How are we going to get to 5 or 10 years to actually help us achieve the vision? So the mission is part of the purpose. Am I making sense, guys? So think of it, you. What's your purpose? Why do you exist as a human spirit? To be, love, and express love. Okay. What's your mission? How are you going to go about that? How are you going to be, love, and express love? Am I making sense? Long enough, if you chunk that down. Now, they're the big things. Now we're going to get strategic and start planning. What's priority to you? Now, a lot of people say, let's set some goals. Let's change that word at this point. And I love it at this point. This is Kerwin's way. What are your annual priorities? Don't set a goal. What are priorities in your life? What are the things that you want to have happen for you priority in 12 months' time? Priority, not a goal. It's a priority. Your TOPs, he calls them tactical operating priorities. What are your, excuse me, your yearly TOPs, TOPs? Your TOPs have to fit, support the mission, and the mission supports the vision. You see how they lead into each other? So let's work on why we exist as a business or as an individual. What's my mission as the individual, my business? And if that's what my mission is the next 5 years, what do I need to get and what's my priority in the first 12 months? Or with my health, what's my priority in 12 months? If I want to be a builder, for example, bodybuilder. If that's my vision and that's my mission to be on stage in 5 years, just saying for some of you, You might have some people that you can share this with. Then what are my priorities for 12 months? Now, once you got your 12-month priorities, and my suggestion is write at least 20. If we said to you right now, clean piece of paper, and you wrote 20 priorities, 20 things that are priority for you to actually make happen in 12 months. That's the starting point, right? Because those 20 priorities, you break down into 90-day sprints. And a 90-day sprint is a quarter. So you take your annual priorities and you turn them into quarterly goals. 90-day sprints. And then your quarterly goals, you turn into weekly goals. So you notice what's happening? So I'm going to have, I'll come to the flip chart here in a second, right? And then your weekly goals, you need to chunk down to your daily tasks. What are the things you're going to do every day that's going to help you get your weekly goal? That's going to help you get your quarterly goal. That'll help you achieve your annual priorities. That'll help you fulfill your mission. And that's why you're on this planet. Am I making sense? That's a strategic planning process. You can use it in your business. You can use it in your career. You can use it with your health. You can use it with your relationships.